Good morning again, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And this is going to be kind of a deep dive in a few minutes into the subject of the source of authority. This is an old question, an ancient question, in fact, one that has already been answered, but which has been kind of marginalized into the periphery where people don't commonly get exposure to the idea of authority and the definition of it, the source of it, because in honesty, you're not expected to know these things, to understand them, because it gives you ideas, right? You're expected to follow directions. Most of us are. But this has been asked and answered many times, actually, throughout history, human history. And I want to briefly describe what the source of authority is, because it has been thought, obviously, by many civilizations and governments that power, military power, force, that is to say weapons, swords, guns, bombs, are the source of authority. But in the Cold War, many people are already aware of this, there was a point reached where there was an impasse, there was a stalemate, where the size of the planet Earth became a variable in what was called mutually assured destruction. And this was the final answer to that question, but we still don't talk about this too much. To say that guns are the reason people do things, to say that military might or weaponry is a reason to do things, is false. It's patently and measurably false, because, it should be obvious right on the surface that right and wrong don't depend on other people's reactions or threats or behaviors. Right and wrong in your situation, when you have a decision to make and you will own the outcome of that decision, it cannot and should not depend on other people's opinions, beliefs, choices, or anything about them, including what weapons they may or may not have. So what is the source of authority? Well, it's competence, it's integrity, and ultimately it's philosophy. It is. And we're not allowed to talk about this either. In fact, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which was written in the United Kingdom, I believe, has been changed in the United States to be the Sorcerer's Stone for a reason. Why do you think that is? Why was the word philosophy changed to sorcerer? Well, we don't want you thinking about philosophy too much. We don't want you to know what the source of authority is. We don't want you to be independent, especially when it comes to thought. The side that wins, invariably, in conclusion, is the side with superior philosophy. Before the first boot touches the first battlefield, the side with superior philosophy will have the greater center of gravity, the lowest point of energy, and will attract the most advocates and allies, and will therefore always be victorious. Philosophy determines the winner every time, and that is your source of authority. Have a great day. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.